Hey ladies, hey sisters. Today is Wednesday, the last Wednesday before the new year, and I'm just popping in briefly. It's pretty much time for a pop-up. A pop-up is overdue, but there's definitely a need for a pop-up the way that I'm feeling on today, or have been feeling for the past few days. And I just need to vent. And I guess that's the good thing about having sisters, is that you're able to just vent. You no longer have to just hold that stuff inside of you. You're able to vent and just let it out. I'm going to get straight to it. And I don't know what I thought when Sean started praying, or would pray, about exposure in this season. Lord, just expose me to me. Expose the people that's around me. Lord, just open up my eyes. Allow me to be able to see what it is that I need to see, and block whatever it is that is not for me. So when she praying the prayer of exposure, of course it's beautiful and it's in order, but I never thought that God was going to expose things to me the way that he has exposed things to me. So giving you a piece of my heart without actually, hey sis, hey Joy, without putting names out there or talking about the situation directly. I'm going to try not to talk about the situation directly, but just try to give you a piece of what it is that I'm feeling. I had a friend that we have been friends for years. And when I say years, I'm not talking about 5 years. I'm not talking about 10 years. I'm not talking about 15 years, 20 years. I'm talking about 30 plus years we've been friends. And it's like Sean has been praying this exposure prayer. And if anybody has been walking through 2020 and 2021 the way that I've been walking through 2020 and 2021, once we see that we're approaching 2022, you like claiming your stuff, like this is going to be my year. This is my year to just hold on. This is my year to push forward. This is my year. Like I'm claiming it like never before. I see parts of me that I've never seen before. And even though I understand, Lord, I have to leave some people behind. I'm going to be able to detach myself from people the way that I've never been able to detach myself from people in order for me to grow. But I never in a million years thought that God was going to disassociate me, was going to make me detach myself from somebody that I didn't look at as a friend, that I looked at as a sister. So when things began to come back to me and people began to tell me about what was being said about me, it wasn't even to the point that I wanted to stand up for what the things that people were saying. It was just more of a hurtful space. But then God began to talk to me and help me to understand that the enemy is not able to come to you in certain type of ways. The enemy is going to approach you with things or people that is closest to you that will be able to affect you differently. The person or the persons that I have listed and labeled as my friends, as my whole heart, my whole everything. When I think of friendship, I automatically think of them at the front of the line. When I think of sisterhood, I think of them at the front of the line. And to see how the enemy comes in to rob, kill, and destroy. So I just want to encourage somebody during this season, during you stepping into your 2022. If there is a doubt in you about your circle, if your circle, and you've heard me say this before, but if your circle is not feeding you, if your circle is not growing you, when you know the assignment, you know where it is that God is trying to take you, don't be off in a situation where God has to literally pull your blinders off And you have to see things that are so hurtful when you have been given warning and sign for way so long. Like, you know that you're not supposed, that you've grown above that situation, that you've grown above that person, but you feel like you have to stay connected to them because of who they are. But in the same token, that they're not even respecting who you are. My best friend, my sister that I've been rocking with for years. Now that God has allowed me to be able to see that I have been attached to a jealous spirit. Like, as I'm sharing my thoughts and I'm sharing my ideas and I'm bringing people around this person, it's a jealous spirit. See, when I see you have something and when I see that you're growing in something, I get excited. I want to fertilize it. I don't look at it as into, how did you get this? Why did God bless you with this? And then go run your name through the dirt or go run your name through the darkness. I support you differently. So to see and to feel the hurt of somebody else that is, again, not a stranger. Not a stranger to my heart, not a stranger to my circumstances. We've went through everything, life situations, death situations. We've been through so many things together, and to be counted out or to be like having to go through this situation right now with this person, but right now in this season, if I've never believed God for anything, if I've never trusted God the way that I trust God now, I trust God so much that I don't question anything. Even when it's hurtful, I put a praise on it. Even when it's unclear, I put a praise on it. And I'm even in this situation, I've never been able to say that a person hate me, or I don't use the hate towards somebody else. That's not even in my vocabulary. But I stepped in a space on Christmas Eve and I walked into the room and this person looked at me and there was a hate. There was a tightness of her jaws. It was just a hatred towards me, and I don't even know what it is that I could have done to you. And God said, I have been telling you for years to let this go, that this friendship, that this relationship, that this connection is no longer you. You're no longer in that space, and it's okay to walk away from it. You owe this person, you owe that situation, you owe them nothing. Only thing that you're owing right now is what you're giving me. You owe me your time. You owe me your praise. You owe me everything that you're giving me right now. And if you think that this person is upset right now, I haven't even begun to lay the table out. I'm just directing you to where the table is. I haven't even decorated it. I haven't even put everything down yet. So just imagine what it is that I'm about to give you right in front of the eyes of your enemies. Like, we say those things, and it sounds so good when somebody is praying over it, but when you're honestly walking in it, and I'm thinking of enemy as somebody that I don't know, as somebody that is not close to my heart, as somebody that I do not love, but the enemy is in my space. The enemy is welcomed in my home, and God is telling me that this is the enemy. This person is now the enemy. Like, how do you digest that? How do you understand that? How do you comprehend that? Because again, this is not a stranger to me, but God is saying, I need you to let it go. So for some of you, I know that there is somebody that has been rocking in relationships, that have been rocking with people, and you're knowing that there is something different about you. You're knowing that God is calling you, that the Spirit is calling you, that the universe is calling you to something greater. And you're knowing that that greatness or that greater does not have their name on it. I am giving you permission today. I ask God, God, give me what it is that I need to say to my sisters on this day without talking about the situation, but giving the fruits of the situation. So whoever it is that's walking in a situation right now that's afraid to let go, that's afraid to let go of what's holding you behind 2022. I know that we've said this from 19. We've said it 2017. We said it in 2000 when it was the millennium, that this is going to be your year. But I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I am reassuring you, I am confirming that 2022 is your year, but you gotta let some people and you gotta let some things go. And they're not strangers. They're not strangers to your hearts. They're not strangers to your circumstances. These are some of the people that are closest to you. And as I sit in a space that I am in right now, even though my feelings are so hurt, like I can only use the word hurt because there's really no word that I can phantom, that I can even think of that would describe what it is that I feel. But because I trust God differently. I love on God differently. So when I go back and I say that my sister has been praying on exposure, even though that I did not understand the assignment when she was praying on exposure, but God, as I'm in this situation, it lets me go back to say, look at what this group has been praying for. And if you are a part of this group, even if you don't show up for the lives, even if you don't show up for prayer, you still got sisters that are praying over you. And because you are connected, just because you are a part of the group, when she's praying for exposure, she's praying for exposure in your situation. Sometimes in this season right now, within just a few months, you've been able to see people differently. You've been able to see yourself differently. You've been able to see your situation differently, only because your sister has been praying for exposure. So I am pleading with you, whatever it is that God has exposed to you, that God is allowing you to feel that is no longer you. Don't apologize for the exposure. Don't hold your head for the exposure. Instead, give God and put a praise on it and say, Lord, I thank you for bringing this to an end. Lord, I thank you for turning this test into a testimony. Lord, I thank you for allowing my tears to cleanse me. Lord, I thank you for providing clarity in an unclear situation. And as this person may have stabbed me in my back, may have talked about me, I'm going to do the opposite for them of what they have did for me. I'm going to pray for them. I'm going to ask God to pull them out of their darkest hour, out of their darkest spaces, and attach them to somebody that can love on them differently, to pull them out of that bitterness. But if you are attached to somebody or something, I don't care if you guys have been friends since elementary and you just feel like this has to be a friendship. If every time you speak into that person, there's a jealous spirit, they got something ugly to say about you, they got something ugly to say about your situation. When they see you with something, they say, it must be nice. Not that you deserve it. You're looking at what I got right now, but you don't know what I went through to get what I have right now. You're looking at my situation. You so bad want to be in my situation, but if I gave you my shoes, you would take them off in a heartbeat. So when you're talking to God in this season, I need you to claim your 2022 like you've never claimed it before. Leave some people behind. And as I spoke a couple weeks ago, when you leave them behind, do not look back. The only thing that God is telling you to do is not to look back. It's so much ahead of you. There is prosperity ahead of you. There is a husband in front of you. There is love in front of you. There is an overflow of wealth in front of you. There is real friendships in front of you. There is healing in front of you. There are so many things that's in front of you, but you can't get to what's in front of you if you continue to look back. You got to go forward. You got to drop off these dead people and these dead weight and these spirits. Like, people honestly walk around here with spirits that are different from yours. But because of the title and because of the time that they've spent in your life, you feel like you got to carry that weight. But let me tell you something. There is no love that is more, that has no value than when you're loving on your own. I'm doing all the loving. You're not doing any of the loving. I'm doing all of the promotion. I'm doing all of the highlights. I'm doing all of the comforting. I'm doing all of the showing up. I'm doing everything. You're not doing anything for me. So for me to actually hold on to this, what is the point? A lot of times God won't even allow you to connect to something greater because that person that you will not let go of is going to damage the greater. Let that go. Let that person go. Let that vice go, that thing, whatever it is that's keeping you from being who you know you are. You know that there is greater in you. You know that there is so much more greater than you. You go to bed so many nights crying uncontrollable tears, revisiting the same story, the same situation. The only thing that has changed is the date and the time, but the person is the same. The situation is the same. And God is saying, I'm telling you, I'm doing it politely, because if I have to expose this person on a level to make you let it go, it may damage you in such a way that you don't see me in it. So I'm telling you to activate what it is that you feel and let it go, and trust me to make it better. Trust me to understand where it is that you are going is greater than where you're at right now. Where you're at right now, sitting in that darkness, sitting in that unlovable space, sitting in that place of where somebody cannot lift you up. That is not a space of where God needs you in. That is not a space of where the Spirit needs you in. The Spirit needs you in a space of where you can grow. And one thing that I confess, I am not a perfect person. If imperfections was wrapped up in a person, if you can put it off in the dictionary, it would say Shamika. I am far from the perfect person. I have been through my share of things. I have hurt many people. But the difference is I don't hurt intentionally due to ignorance. But the moment that God allowed me to see the hurt and the damage that I did to people, I tried to correct it. In the moments where I was able to apologize, I apologized for it, because I never want to hurt a person. But when you attach to somebody that intentionally hurts you, that intentionally brings you down, that it intentionally takes away your sunshine, that intentionally takes away your joy, remove them. You've been with them way too long. So even though we're given an hour every day, a different day every day, we don't see that as a reset. For some reason, a year makes it seem like a reset. It just programs in our mind, because this is a different year, it's now a reset. So now that we're approaching 2022, this is your reset. This is for you to step in and say, what is it that I need? What kind of love is it that I need? And if your circle is not providing the love that you need, leave them in 2021 and go after what is waiting for you in 2022. Rewrite your story. Add a new chapter. Add some more people. Allow blessings to come to you. Allow space for a blessing. Keep in mind what I just said. Sometimes God will not allow people to come into your space because of what's already in your space. So if I got to remove you just so I can have greater, I trust God in this season. I trust God in this season of greater. I trust God in this season of greatness. I trust God in this season of saying, I deserve it. Do you know how hard it was for me to honestly say, God, I deserve it? Even though I'm not perfect, even though I mess up every single day, there are some things that I have been through that I know that in this season of blessings, in this season of gratefulness, that I deserve it. I deserve to be loved the way that I love people. I deserve to have a sisterhood the way that I see sisterhood. God didn't give me the vision of a love of a woman for monetary values. There is something inside of me that has always loved women, that always wanted to pour into women, because I know how nice, nasty women can be. And I am the most forgivable person that there is. Like, you can do something to me and I'll still find the goodness in it, only because of I know what it's like to have sisterhood or to want sisterhood. I received a call. I was on my way to the casino about a few weeks ago. I'm in the car. True story. My phone rings. This same person called me and said, I was just off in an accident. Somebody just hit me. But before she even began to tell me her story, the first thing that came out of her mouth was, I can't believe I called you. In your time of being in an accident, you didn't think to call nobody else but me. But there's something inside of you that's saying, I can't believe that I even called you. I ignored what it was that she said because I didn't want to receive that. I said, maybe she didn't mean it the way that she said it. And I still prayed over her. I still directed her. In her drunken moments with the police behind her, she was able to walk away from that situation without a DUI, without going to jail, without any injuries because of who she contacted. But God has given me permission to say enough. You can't keep pouring into people that is not deserving of what it is that you are gifting them. You cannot keep pouring into people that will take your name and run it through the mud. You cannot pour into people that just want to sit up and hate you for absolutely no reason. I give you permission to let it go. I am letting you know that your time has expired with this person. So whoever your person is in your situation, whoever your person is in your moment, that you need to let go, that's not feeding you, that's not growing you up, that's not glowing you up, that does not believe in anything that you have to give, but you believe in everything it is that they have to give. Let it go. And do them one better. Don't handle them the way that they handled you. Don't let them go in such a hurtful manner. Let them go, pray about them, and let them go. Ask God to do a thing in them when God is ready to do a thing in them. But as for them being attached to you, it's time for you to let them go. And again, and I'm finna get off of this live. There is so much power in prayer. I don't think that people understand that. There is so much power in prayer. And even if you don't understand the power in prayer, when you got a prayer that understands the power in prayer, and when they pray over you, you're blessed just because of their connection. When Sean began to pray about exposure, she's been praying for a minute. Not that I don't believe in prayer. Not that I'm better than anybody. Lord, you're going to expose some things to me. You're going to expose me to me. But I had no clue that God was going to do what he was doing. So in my moment of hurt, in my moment of confusion, in my moment when God was saying, let it go, when I didn't understand anything else, I was able to go back and stand on that foundation of prayer. And I know what my sister prayed for. And I know how my sister prayed over me. And I said, Lord, I receive it. I'm not going to hold on to it a minute longer, a day longer, a second longer. I thank you for the exposure. I thank you for the exposure. And I thank you for glowing me up. I thank you for getting me past the growing up, but you're glowing me up. If I walk off in the room and I make you feel uncomfortable because of my glow, you are upset with me because of my love. You are upset with me because of my obedience. You are upset with me because of the God that is in me. Your issue is not with me. Your issue is with God. Your issue, again, is not with me. And God is helping me understand the issue is not you, Mika. The issue is because you've put my face on you. And the enemy hates my face. The enemy hates my walk. The enemy hates my talk. So, of course, when you walk off in a space and when you walk off in a room, some people are going to get uncomfortable, but they're not. Don't take it personal because they're not uncomfortable with you. They're not hating you. It is the God in you that they're uncomfortable with. It is the glow on you that they're uncomfortable with. So whatever it is that you're feeling that you have to attack, you no longer have to speak up for yourself anymore. Just bring it to me and allow me to show the enemy who I am through you. And that is what I have signed up for God to do, is to be on display. But when you on display for God, it's a difference when you just on display. It's a difference when you just say, God, use me. It's a difference when you just say, prayer is good. But when I got to go back and I got to honestly understand what it means by prayer being good, what it honestly look like when you say, God, use me. What it honestly feel like when I say, Lord, I give it to you. When I honestly have to sit back and trust that vengeance is yours. See, it's a difference when you activate those things. You can say it all day long, but when you activate it, it don't mean that I'm not hurting in this season. It don't mean that I go through more things now than what I went through before I had God in the forefront of my life. But it's the way that I deal with it that is different. It's the way that I hold on to it that is different. And one thing that I know for sure is if it's not growing me and if it's not helping me glow up, it has to go. And for you, for somebody that's going to tap into this live or find it on replay, you've been holding on to someone so long that has been dimming your light. God has been trying to tell you on your time, I want you to do it so you can do it, so you can see why you did it. But if you don't do it, because it's something else that I need you to do in 2022. You've been claiming year after year after year. I've been hearing you say, this is my year, this is my year, this is my year. God is saying enough. 2022 is your year. And whoever I got to unleash from you, whoever I got to cut off of you, I'm going to cut it off. So you can do it politely and you can set those people to the side, walk away and not look back, or I have to intervene and I have to cut it off. And then there's something else that you got to deal with. It's the cutoff. So as God has allowed you to see and to witness what it is that you need to cut off, that pain, that hurt, that confusion, that frustration, that I'm constantly pouring into you and you're not pouring into me, that's the cutoff. Trust God differently in 2022. Trust him differently by loving on yourself. Trust him differently by saying, God, I know that if you gave it to me, if you're leading me to it, if you're ordering my steps, there's no failure in it. There's no failure in God. God's word never returns void. The moment that you find yourself getting off of track with God and you're finding yourself drifting away, call that thing back. God, I need you to put me back on track. Just keep in mind that God is going to do exactly what he says he's going to do. He's not going to take a shortcut to it. He's not going to soften your blow because he knows that it's going to spook you. God is going to do exactly what he says he's going to do. So when you open up your mouth, when Sean opened up her mouth and asked for exposure, something simple as exposure for my sisters. Take their lens off. Exposure. Show them. Expose the people that are around them. God didn't do it on her time. God didn't do it on my time. The Spirit did it on his time. And when God did it, the moment that I didn't understand it, I'm telling you, I went back to that prayer and I said, my sister has been praying for exposure. I understand it. I don't know where we're going with this. I don't know what's waiting on the other side of this exposure. But I respect the assignment. I receive the blessing. And I want the overflow. You will no longer be a thorn in my side. You will no longer have me questioning my wealth. You will no longer be able to steal my joy. You will no longer having me cry tears that does not cleanse me. You no longer have that power just because of your title. Just because of the time that we have spent in a so-called friendship relationship. Because my friendship, my relationship was real. My title, my way of loving you was real. And I guess what hurts the most is knowing that the love that you were given me was not real. But I received it. And even though I don't understand it today, I don't understand the exposure today, I don't understand the let go today, I don't get all of the whys with it. But I can promise you this, because of my obedience of letting go and letting God have his way, there is victory after this. Because of my obedience, my trust and believing that God is faithful, me understanding that I am deserving of God's love, I know that there is victory after this. You know what you deserve. I've been knowing what I deserve. I just settled for less and put titles of friendship on it. But you know the type of friends that you need to grow you. You know the type of friends you need to uplift you. You know the type of love that you need, because it's the love that you give. And if you're not receiving that, don't take it into 2022. Leave it here. Leave it in 2021. I'd rather have a quality of 2 great ones, goodness, favor, than have a quantity of 200 darkness, misleading, misusing, unkind people around me. Your space should be small. Your space should be comfortable. Your space should be kind. Your space should be a reflection of you. Get in a space that can grow you. Get in a space that can love on you. I'm signing off of this live on today, but as you know, before I leave you, I always let you know how much I love you. And today is gloomy in Texas, so if you go out today, or if you're in the space of anyone today, I want to encourage you to love on somebody. To love on somebody. But before you go out and love on anybody, first do yourself a favor. Do your spirit a favor. Stop and love on yourself. Stop and love on yourself first. Love on yourself differently. Not because I told you to, but because you deserve it. Love on yourself differently. I love you too, Tanya. I love y'all. Y'all go out and y'all have a wonderful Wednesday. I see y'all this evening in the 8 o'clock hour for prayer. Who knows? We all out of order. We doing stuff all kind of ways. So prayer may show up earlier than that, but it'll be today sometime. Prayer will be today. But thank y'all for allowing me to vent on this wonderful evening. I just had to get that off of me so I could stay in the alignment of my joy. I had to, yeah. But I love you, ladies. Have a great day. Love on yourself. Love on somebody. But love on yourself first. You first. You first.